This is May 23rd, 2007 at 1:30 in the afternoon. We are interviewing Philip Confalone in the Stratton VA Medical Center in Albany, New York. He served in the United States Navy from December 18, 1943 through December 26, 1946. This interview is being conducted by Kenneth and June Hunter. Will you please tell us your name and when and where you were born?
My name is Philip Confalone. I was born January 28th, 1920 in 349 East 72nd Street, New York City.
Now, were you drafted or did you enlist?
I enlisted the day after Pearl Harbor.
And where did you go for your training?
My basic training, what they call in the Navy, boot camp, was at Camp Perry in Virginia. But it didn't begin immediately after I was sworn in. Well, I waited until there was enough men to be sworn in at the same time. And then we all took a train from Pennsylvania Station to Camp Perry, Virginia.
Okay, and can you tell us anything about what it was like?
Camp Perry was typical of what you would expect a Navy boot camp to be like. We had to learn military courtesy, and we had to learn all the military functions that we had to learn to become in the Navy. We learned so many little idiotic things, that how to fold your clothes and put them away, how to use a sea bag, how to live in Quonset huts. I think they were Quonset huts, if my memory doesn't serve me correctly. And it was in the middle of the winter time, and what we had to do was keep the barracks. I guess they were barracks, I'm calling them now. Keep the barracks warm at night. We took turns feeding it with wood at night. After about, I think it must have been February. Yeah, well, we used to go out on marches every day to learn the left, right, hip, right, left, around, turn, out, turn, all that business. We had to learn everything that it took to be in the military. And then when we finished that, I don't know the exact date, but it was sometime in April. We went for advanced training to Camp Davisville, Rhode Island. And it seemed to me that, as I can still remember, it was the coldest day of my life. And we went up on a train, and we got on the train and got up in someplace up in Rhode Island. I don't remember the exact train location. We went into camp, 2 barracks, upstairs and downstairs. And I had a fireman's rating. And because I had a fireman's rating, it was necessary for us to keep the building warm. And I never did anything like this in my life, but they showed you how. And another fellow and myself, I think there were 2 of us. One at night, one in the daytime, kept the building warm. One at night and one in the daytime. It was so very cold. The things I remember is that when you got finished during the day, the man on duty, I don't want to get this mixed up. Yeah, well, the men coming in off duty would make sure to have the furnaces going so that it was nice and warm, because we had to warm up upstairs and downstairs. And as part of this, you should know that there were 250 men in a company, and that's how many men lived in that building. 120 upstairs and 120 downstairs. I think I'm pretty accurate on this stuff. Now, oh yeah, the interesting part was that when you come in off duty, if you didn't have anything else to do, or if you did even, you made it your business to wash your clothes, and then we'd hang them up outside. And when we come in off duty the next day, you had to hang up your clothes. And the clothing the next day was frozen from the winter cold. And so we couldn't touch our clothing until we came off on duty again. Then we were able to bring our clothing in, dry, fold it, and put it away. That's where we went on the firing range and learned how to fire a rifle. Learned a lot about the things that we probably won't have much to do with, but still it was military, and we had to learn how to do these things. I don't know why I was assigned to because I was, for some reason, I was applied to I was appointed to the machine gun squad. There weren't many of us, and there weren't many of us applied. But I got on a machine gun squad, 50 millimeter machine gun squad, and with a number of other men, we had to learn how to dismantle a 50 caliber machine gun, and we had to learn how to completely dismantle the machine gun and put it back together. And it wasn't until we finished knowing how to do this, blindfolded, piecemeal, take the parts, put them together. And we had Marines teaching us how to do that. We must have been there about 6 weeks with a very heavy schedule. Then after that, we went on a firing range. They showed us that we spent about 3, 4, 5 days learning the M1 rifle, which was the same rifle that they used during World War I. We went on a rifle range and we learned how to fire a rifle. And some of the men were pretty good, some of them weren't so very good. But there was a rifle range. There were men down there holding up a flag with its star.
It's showing where you scored on the target.
Right, exactly. And we fly the range, we fly the rifle, and Hightown turned out being in the prone position very good. But when it came to the sitting position, I wasn't too good. I don't know what it was about the sitting position. I couldn't do it though. Then we went back to camp after we've had enough of practice with that. And then we were getting prepared. We had finished advanced training, and we got prepared for shipping to go to ship out to go to we went to
In Port Hueneme, California?
no, not yet.
Oh.
Right now we went to Gulfport, Mississippi. We went to Gulfport, Mississippi on a train. I can remember on the way out, one of the rivers I don't remember which road, it was a long time ago. We went on a train, and one of the trains were flooded. They had a lot of rain at that time. It was something just to be on the tip of my tongue. I always knew it. Now I can't think of it. The Ohio River, or that went into the Mississippi River. We then from there we got down to Jackson, Mississippi, and the thing that I thought was very strange was when we got to Jackson, Mississippi, we had to wait because Jackson was the capital of the state of Mississippi. But we had to go to Gulfport, Mississippi, which was way down the tip of Mississippi. Unfortunately, there was only one train going. You couldn't go back and forth. We had to wait for the train from Gulfport to come up. Then they got off, we got on, and then we got on a train to Gulfport. Then we got to camp, and the next day we went into barracks, nice barracks, and the weather was beautiful. Boy, we really enjoyed Gulfport, Mississippi. And at Gulfport, Mississippi, we got camps. It was a pleasure. We could play ball and enjoy what it was like to the spring, because that's what this was now, the spring. And one day we were told that the next day we were going on a bivouac. The bivouac was a 17-mile hike with a full pack, and some of us couldn't make it. I made it. I don't know how I made it, but I did. We got all the way up to Gulfport, Mississippi, 17 miles, and then when we got there, we had to bivouac for the night. We got a pitch a camp, and they said they prepared some kind of a meal for us to eat that night, and we ate. And the next morning, we got up bright and early, and there were trucks, GMC trucks, that took us back to camp at Gulfport. This was the first really ordeal that we faced, and it was rough. But you didn't hear much complaining. Guys all did it. There were a few that couldn't do it. You heard from them complaining, but that's the way it is. Then we prepared at Gulfport, Mississippi, to prepare for Port Hueneme, California. And that was a pleasure. When we got to camp, when we got to, if there's any questions here in the meantime, don't hesitate to ask. You might refresh my memory.
This is Port Hueneme, was the place where the Seabee indoctrination was.
Well, it wasn't really indoctrination. That's where we shipped out. And Port Hueneme was the shipping point where we had ships there, and we were there about 3 weeks. We got there, now we're going out on liberty, and we want to make sure to get this straight. We got to Gulfport, Mississippi, to
Port Hueneme.
I'm getting this mixed up here. I want to make sure it's not all mixed up. Gulfport, Mississippi was where that's where we got back from the 17-mile trip of the bivouac area and all that business. Then, oh yeah, that's right, I don't want to miss this part. This was a nice part. We got to Gulfport, Mississippi, and I don't know how long it was, but from then on, we prepared to go to Port Hueneme, California. At Gulfport, Mississippi, we were assigned train positions. We got on train. We got, what do you call it? Places where you could sleep at night.
Sleep berths.
Yeah. We got
Sleeper car.
yeah, we got berths, and the guy this was luxury, boy. Let me tell you something. We got on that train, and we could never believe what a trip that must have been. We got on the train and we headed exactly what the trip was like. I couldn't tell you, because we went across the Mississippi, we went across Louisiana, we went across Mexico, went across Mexico, and that was a trip, boy. Something. I don't know how many days. It seemed like you wake up and you could smell weed, and we went all day long, and then all day long we see Texas, and at night all the Texas. Finally, we got up into. I don't remember. I look at the map. How it rained. How we ended up in Colorado, and we got that train. Got a fell in, and I did it again because my daughter was anxious to see what it looked like. So when I told my daughter that in the Navy we stopped there for breakfast at Denver, Colorado, she was very anxious to see where it was, because she couldn't picture anything that resembled what I told her about. But of course, when she took me there, it must have been about 19. Well, she got married in 1970, so this must have been about 1971. We got off the train, and the place that I saw where we went for breakfast wasn't anywhere near. But I can remember this hill. We climbed up the hill, and we went to this. There was this big hotel, and the whole battalion of about 1,000 men went in there downstairs for breakfast. But that place wasn't there anymore, so I couldn't take her there. And apparently, now, that was 1970. So there was no semblance of what I was talking about and what she was anxious to see. We did have breakfast, and therefore we got on a train and continued on to California. We ended up in Port Hueneme, California. We went into camp there, and we stayed there for about, at least 3 weeks. And the reason we spent there 3 weeks was because now, as Seabees, we were getting in all our bulldozers, our steam shovels, all the derricks, and the road graders, and all the automobile shop, the trucks. It was unbelievable the amount of equipment that we took with us. And with 1,000 men, all heavy equipment men, men who were in construction, to be able to give you an idea of what a construction company was like. Unbelievable. We were there about 3-4 weeks, and it was the first part of really enjoying being in the Seabees, the Navy, as we had experienced before. So what we did was, we used to get Liberty. You could get Liberty every other night, and you could get Liberty every other weekend, and we did. But the funny part of this thing, and I'm going to tell it to you because this is the way it was, a lot of the guys were crap shooters. I wasn't. My best friends weren't. The guys that shot crap, when it came weekends to go for Liberty for the weekend, they didn't have any money. So what they would do is, those who did not have, those who did not play craps and did not lose money, they had money to go into Los Angeles and Hollywood. And those who didn't, of course, they stayed back trying to win their money. You're bringing back a lot of memories, I'm telling you. You have no idea. So, me and three, four of my friends, we would go into Los Angeles, grab the Greyhound bus. There was a camp, bus stamp, right outside of camp, and we would go into Los Angeles, and we would enjoy going in. And the people out there were the most hospitable people you ever want to see. We went the very first night, I was shocked. We had a few drinks. I was now 22 years old. We had a few drinks, and we were talking to a couple of guys and told them we would go into a hotel to get a hotel room for the night, and couldn't get a room for the night. Guy says to us, you know, I have a back porch. The weather is nice, and you're welcome to sleep on my back porch if you want to. Wow, this was great. We got back there, slept on their back porch. They had cots and stuff. There was two of us. Got up the next morning, he made us breakfast, and we went back into camp. That day, Sunday, this was not every week, but this was the one week. We went into Hollywood, and we went to the Hollywood Canteen. And the Hollywood Canteen, if you've ever heard of it, was a place where we went, and the movie stars were all there. You have no idea how they treated us. Basil Rathbone greeted us at the door when we came in. This was, what USO.
Yes.
We went in. I said Basil Rathbone, didn't I? John Garfield entertained. Well, a lot of the entertainers entertained. We made sure we were dressed properly. We realized we were going to go visit, and I sat at a bar, and people may not believe this, and sat next to Olivia de Havilland.
Wow.
I mean, she was nobody now, but at that time, wow. Sat next to Olivia de Havilland. Sat next to, what a weekend that was. We made sure to get a hotel for the night. Now, what did I leave out, or what could I end? What could I tell you about it?
Okay, from there, after you did that, they prepared the troop, the battalion, for overseas duty.
Yeah.
Okay, and then did you ship out? Where did you ship out for overseas duty?
That's coming now. Now that I've told you how much we enjoyed being in Hollywood and Los Angeles. We were there for about 4 weeks that I can remember. In the evening, we would get liberty every evening, and we could go into, there was liberty into Oxnard, a little town, and Ventura, another little town. And people there treated us wonderful. You couldn't buy a drink. They always had a drink for you. We weren't, my group were not heavy drinkers. But we drank beer, and a little bit of beer. We didn't get there early and didn't stay there late. Now, then, yeah, the Greyhound bus would take us into town. This is bringing back memories, folks. I'm telling you. this is as close a memory as I can give you to.
You're doing fine.
Uh,
You're doing a fine job.
Good.
And
Then-
tell about going, we'd like to hear a little more about your service overseas.
All right, I'm getting to that in a second.
Okay.
They, I don't want to leave out the other part. Oh, in the evening, the bartender would say, "This is your last drink at midnight." And that's your last drink, you put it on there. But you want to know something? The people there would never let us buy a drink. They treat us to every drink.
Mm.
It's a good thing we weren't heavy drinkers. Now, while all this was going on at night and weekends, that was going on at weekends. We still busy during the day. If you weren't on duty, you could play softball, which we played a lot of softball. And then came the day when it was getting time to ship out. And so we got our equipment ready. Bulldozer operators were busy out in the field, getting used to their equipment. Shovel operators, everything that we had to know how to use, we used. And then we got used to working with our equipment in the motor pool where the trucks were. Trying to think, what else did I leave out here? Yeah. Sometimes we would go on guard duty, because that was important. Everybody had to do guard duty. And, yeah. Then after that, let me see. Oh yeah, we got ready to ship out. There's stuff that was probably in there that I left out, and probably
Sorry.
stuff in there, you know.
You
I'm
remember
telling you.
better than most of us.
No, but I'm telling you all of the things that were interesting,
Mhm.
and all of the things that I did. So we got on a board ship, and we left Port Guinea, and we were all set to ship out on a Portuguese ship. No, that were a Danish ship. The Port Guinea or something like that. Ship pulled out. Oh, I gotta tell you this. When we got aboard ship, we got on ship. We had to carry a duffel bag, which had our bedding in one bag and our clothing in the other bag. And the only way we could do this, we had one sea bag over our shoulder and a sea bag in the other hand. That took care of that. And when we got aboard ship, then we got aboard ship and we dumped one in one pile in the hold, and in the other pile, we took it with us to our bunk where we were going to sleep. Whew. Now, yes, we get on the Port Guinea, and when we traveled, the ship sailed seven minutes this way and 7 minutes that way. And the reason for this was to prevent the Japs from torpedoing us. In other words, apparently it took 7 minutes for the Japanese ship to line up to torpedo us. And so when the ship never had an opportunity to torpedo us. That's as much as I can remember. Then we were at sea, and we sailed. Oh yeah, I got to tell you about me, because I had machine gun training back in camp in Davisville, Rhode Island. I was given gun duty. Gun duty was aircraft firing. In case any Japanese planes came over, we would be able to fire at them. Fortunately, we never fired at anybody. We never saw anybody. And now we traveled the South Pacific safely because the Japanese to go there. The Japanese were in Central Pacific, where their places were. Phew, I'm getting exhausted. We ended up in an island. I don't remember the name of the island, but we stopped at this island, and we were there for 3 days. And there we got off the ship for one day, and the guys got an opportunity to get off the ship. There, the natives were on there. There were natives who were only too glad to climb up trees and bring down coconuts. And they split them open. Amazing how these guys could split them. We couldn't split them open, but they took them, and they had these bolo knives that they would split in half, and then they'd break them open for you. And we had coconut trees. We had coconuts to eat. We were there 2 days, 3 days the most. Got aboard ship, and we started to sail. The announcement came over. We sailed on from there to New Caledonia. New Caledonia was our camping place where we had to go to what the heck would you call it? We got there to get our landing craft and our equipment ready. We got our equipment in order, got used to it. We were given separate, got used to using it, made assignments, who was going to do what. I had nice duty there that week or 10 days. I got duty, my duty was, we had gasoline stoves for the cooks to cook on. And so what they needed was guys that were, did I tell you when I went in with a rating of fireman first class? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I got duty fireman first class, and I'd get up in time with the cooks who had to get up early, and I used to cook, not cook. I didn't know how to cook. I got up to, I got up to get the cooks, to get the stoves going, and while the chefs, the cooks, were getting the stuffs ready, they had you put the stoves in position, put gasoline in, put the gasoline in, put air in there, pump it up with the amount of air, and get the stoves ready for cooking, which took quite a while to get hot and ready. Then when they were, as gradually one by one, they would be finished, and they'd need less stoves. Then you'd have to take them out, and then as they didn't need them as much, you'd have to take them out, clean them up, get them ready for the next crew of cooks, so that they were ready for the next crew. And then when they did, then you cleaned them all up, you filled them up with more gasoline, and got them ready for the next crew. And when they got ready again, you got ready to cook some more. And that's the way it went there for about, we must have been there about 6 weeks. I can't remember here exactly what the routine was. Yeah. Got any questions?
Okay. From New Caledonia, and after you went through all this, the preparation of your equipment and so forth, where did you head for next?
Okay.
For the action?
Yeah. The next place we went to was Finchhaven, New Guinea. Finchhaven, New Guinea, the Japs were there, and we went in there to take over Finchhaven. My ship, the one Cabrillo, carried the equipment. Just my men, 37 men. We lived a life of officers on that ship. Treated us well, ate well. That trip took us about, going straight north to the tip of New Guinea. And while the rest of the troops went up and landed in Finchhaven. Now, they went to Finchhaven, where they landed and where there must have been some fighting. I can't tell you accurately because I wasn't with them. I was with our equipment. When we got there, you must have notes from other fellas as well that are not the same, probably.
No.
No. Yeah, when we got.
Okay, so what about on New Guinea, Los Negros?
That comes next. We first of all in Finchhaven. In Finchhaven, my outfit was busy building camp. The bulldozer crew was busy knocking down trees and clearing jungles to build an airstrip. And they built an airstrip. In 21 days, our planes were taking off and chasing the Japs away. And it was quite a job. When the airstrip was finished, you should see this. They cleared the jungle in 21 days, and as soon as they were finished that, we had a camp set. We had a camp set. The Japs knew that we were building a camp, and they'd come over every night, and they would bomb us, and it was unbelievable. We thought they were so stupid, because we thought we were so smart. The Japs came over every night at the same time, and I don't know how many of them there were, but they come over and they bomb us every night, maybe 2 o'clock in the morning. And when finally we were finished with our job, we were ready to leave. Then there was across the way, this wasn't too far away, we set up camp. And this wasn't too far away from Finchhaven, but we set up camp on Los Negros in the Admiralty Islands. And in the Admiralty Islands, my crew was the equipment crew, as you probably got wide by now. The rest of them all went on a separate ship. And we got there first. The funny thing was, when we went with the equipment, we went there last. But this time, we went first, because we had the equipment, we had to land it, and we had to have guys, and get the bulldozers and shovels and stuff in there ready to plow and get through. Now, we cleared the island. That island was not heavily foliaged, and so we got through there easily. There was firing going on. There was a battle going on, and we landed. Once again, I didn't get much machine gun experience, but whenever it was needed, I was part of the crew. They had reason to believe that we landed there in the morning. That night, the Japs would come back and counterattack. But they didn't, incidentally, fortunately. And so we got there, we landed on the beach. The cooks and the construction men built a camp so that they'd be able to cook us something to eat. That's where we had our first taste of sea rations. Yeah.
I bet they weren't so great to eat, were they?
What's that?
Did you enjoy eating those?
No. They made coffee. We had plenty of coffee, and we had plenty of coffee, and we had sea rations. But that only lasted a few days. Phew. So, but, yeah, the Japs were protecting an airstrip. Wasn't much of an airstrip, really, because all they did was drop off equipment there. They didn't do much else, because they knew we were coming apparently. So, we landed. We didn't do much else except protect ourselves. Our bulldozer operators were ordered to fire on the Japs on their bulldozers, and just to make sure that we didn't get within machine gun fire. And it wasn't too difficult to do, because I'm trying to place exactly how this worked. Yeah, we, in the background along the shore, we did things that we could do, like built a huge tent to build a mess tent, so the cooks could cook. Oh, yeah, and that's where I hurt myself. I don't know if you can still see it or not. It's not bad now. There's a scar there if you can see it.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Down the whole length of your leg. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had a scar there. Lasted for about 5 days, and it healed up good. No problem. And then I remember one night when this thing was in bad shape. In the middle of the night, we had sick bay. You know what sick bay was in the Navy? I crawled on my knees to sick bay, and because I couldn't walk, but that was bothering me so much. The corpsman took care of it so fast that it was amazing. Doctor came over, looked at it, told him, the corpsman, what to do, fixed it up, put me in a cot to sleep. I was all right in a few days, no problem. Oh, yeah, the funny part of this thing. It didn't heal right away. My kids got a kick out of this. It didn't heal right away, and you could see that it was so I told my kids about it. A doctor came through to examine it, to make sure that it was being treated properly. I'm lying in a bunk, and a German doctor comes in, speaking with a German accent, and I'm saying to myself, oh boy, here goes. But he was great. He was a great doctor, and then he says, all you have to do is get up and go to sick bay. The rest of the time, you stay in bed. And it's no time. In a couple of days, I was up and around. I should have taken it easier, but I'm all right.
I'm going to stop for a moment.
I think I'm okay. So, yeah. So that went okay. And from there, where am I now? What island?
Okay, you were at the sick bay, and you were treated by the German doctor.
Yeah. He told him what to do.
Were there a lot of mosquitoes around there?
No.
Anybody malaria at that time?
That's coming. So they sealed up fast, no problem at all. Then I went back to my outfit, with the rest of my outfit. Then what happened? I get notified by my outfit. My outfit. I was in the outfit all the time, but now I got notified to all metalworking men. If you had any kind of metalworking experience, had to report to this landing, to go to this place where I was going to go to in Tulagi. Tulagi was in a small island in the what was the name of the place? The very first place we landed there. In the Solomon Islands. It was way on the edge of the Solomon Islands. There, they were getting ready to prepare all of the ships that were damaged during World War II, during the battles. And these all damaged land craft were being prepared for the landing of the Philippines. We got that all fixed, and then I went back to my outfit again. I went back to my outfit, and went back to my outfit. Now, in there, we were, I got assigned to, I got signed up to, what do they call these Quonset huts. I got assigned to a Quonset hut crew. And I'm working on a Quonset hut crew, and I forgot on Tulagi, yeah, where I got malaria, and I was laid up for with malaria. I think it was 5 days. They know exactly. And the doctor there didn't know what I had because they didn't have malaria on Tulagi. I got it in New Guinea. Okay, so I knew there was Tulagi all around. I mean, I knew there was malaria around the area, but the doctor didn't know this. So he gave me, I don't even remember what malaria or this was malaria.
Quinine?
That's what cured me, was the quinine. And then I went up to, I might be getting this mixed up, I'm not sure, because it's been too many years ago. Now, went up to Tulagi. Yeah. Well, you got Tulagi.
Okay, you got Tulagi, and you were at the Solomon Islands preparing, got the ships.
That was in the Solomon Islands.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I got another attack of malaria. I mixed up with the two islands where each one came from. I knew this inside out, but I don't remember. Yeah, oh yeah. Then I went to, I was assigned to, what this place?
Simon.
Yeah, it's too long. That's where, in this
Caledonia? No.
It's there right now, I bet you.
Right next to the Solomon Islands there. Okay. New Caledonia, and that's the Solomon Islands.
Yeah, but there's another place I was at, opposite.
No, see, it was
Yeah.
no, it says you went to many places in the Pacific.
Yeah, Tulagi, was it Tulagi? It must have been Tulagi that I was working on Quonset huts.
Mm-hmm.
And they handed me down a big sheet. And as they handed me down this big sheet, there was an opening for a window. And as he handed it down to me, I got that right there.
Another scar. You just wanted matching legs.
Yeah. And you know the funny part of that injury was that they rushed me up in a Jeep to the sick bay. And a kid, 21 years old, put 5 stitches in there. And I said to myself, what's going on here? Did an excellent job, really terrific job. And after that, oh yeah, I went back to New Caledonia to my outfit. And after New Caledonia, that's when we took off. We broke in our equipment. We had all new equipment. You won't believe this. Bulldozers, shovels, you name it, we had it. They took it all on barges out to the ocean and dumped it all in the ocean. Would you believe that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, dumped it all in the ocean, and now we waited for our new equipment to come in. We're going to Okinawa, and the equipment comes in, about 2 weeks. In the meantime, we were able to play ball. We had a baseball team. We played other outfits. We had a baseball team, and we played a lot of ball for 2 weeks, and then we took off. We went up to hard to put my memory and my breaths together. Yeah, but from there, we went up to, we're going to Okinawa. On the way to Okinawa, as I recall it, something on the ship broke down, and we were held up for a few days. Then we caught up with the rest of the outfit and headed on our way. We were supposed to go in with the very first group, but we went in with the second group. To get into Okinawa, and went into Okinawa, and there I was assigned on, I don't remember what it was I was assigned to there, but the Japs surrendered on October 16th, if I'm not mistaken. That's the bomb was dropped on October 16th. And the funny part of it was I was working on the airstrip, doing a lot of different things. We built an airdrome, Bola Airdrome, and Bola Airdrome we built was supposed to be 5 miles long and 5 miles the other way. The idea of building this airdrome was that our planes, our great big B-29 planes, would be able to take off 20 ships, B-29s, from Tinian and Okinawa, or Tinian and what's the other island up there? Tinian. 2 big islands up in the Mariana Islands were making the trip all the way to Okinawa. And on the way back, sometimes they'd get banged up. And that's why they had to take Iwo Jima, because it was too far a trip back. Okay? So we, geez, I'd like to think of the name of that. I think I have it down someplace. Maybe it's on there.
Oh, sorry.
The bola's on the side.
Bola
Could have prevented the dropping of the bomb.
What's that?
Bola,
Bola Airdrome was what we built.
and you could have prevented dropping the bomb.
Yes. Bola Airdrome was this huge drill, and there were huge B-29s from 2 of the islands, Tinian and Saipan. Tinian and Saipan. And they were coming down and doing the bombing with conventional bombs. And we would be able to take those 2 types of planes. We would have so many of them that we would never run out of them. And we would be able to bomb Japan with these bombers. Now, what happened there was, of course, the politicians didn't know how close we were, or what we could do, or what the possibilities were. But the fact was, we all felt we're almost finished with this airstrip. We will be able to bomb the hell out of this outfit. They'll be only too glad to surrender, and then we won't have to drop the bomb. But as it turned out, we dropped the bomb. Of course, I'm not knocking Harry Truman, but I am. But he suggested that we drop the bomb, and that was it. Now, that was the 16th of August. At that time, a lot of us who had been out in the Pacific now for 3 years, they all would be entitled to go home. We'd been out there 3 years, you know, and so it would be only time for guys out there 3 years to start coming home. Back in the States, they had thousands of guys ready to come out and replace us, and
Now, one thing you mentioned was you were very inspired when you were on a Japanese airstrip. A plane came in for landing that was all shot up.
yeah.
The sailor named Bird jumped in the cockpit and saved the pilot.
Oh yeah, right, he got a medal for that.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I don't remember his first name, but Bird. We were on this airstrip, and a Japanese plane come into, Japanese plane, not compared to anything like we had, but Japanese plane with one pilot in it, with one man in it. He comes out, he's trying to get out of his plane and he can't get out. He was trapped in the plane. This guy Bird, he runs across the field, the guys are shouting, get out of here, you crazy guy, you don't know, what are you doing? Nobody stopped. He went over. He opened up the cockpit and he pulled him out and dragged him to safety in the plane.
Wow, that must have been.
And as a matter of fact, they gave us some similar like high school yearbooks.
Mm-hmm.
And in there it's got his picture with his award. I don't remember what award it was, but Navy Cross or something like that. Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
then when you came back to the
Where
States.
did you come back to from?
Where did you land when you came back to the
Where?
United States?
The outfit. Well, the outfit didn't go. I left the
You.
outfit. The chief corpsman said, you are one of the guys that are going to be going back immediately. Well, I didn't realize. Next day on the bulletin board, September 1st, on the bulletin board was, all machinists mate first class, pack up, you're leaving tomorrow. Well, terrific. Sure enough, I was packed up, ready to go tomorrow. There was a landing place where ships were coming in and out, and one was the USS West Virginia, a World War I battleship. Well, I went down there and I signed in, and the chief executive officer got us all on deck. It was amazing, but there weren't that many passengers on that ship. He got us all together and he told us what our duties were while we were on that ship and what our conduct should be. And so we sailed. And I want to tell you, if you've never been on a battleship, you should know now, and I tell this to everybody. Being on a United States battleship is like living in a luxury hotel. You have no idea. I mean, they had ice cream parlors and they had, you name it, unbelievable. The ship I was on was the West Virginia, and the West Virginia was not going to Treasure Island, California, where I was going. It was going through the Panama Canal, which was a World War II ship, and that could fit. So they took me to Treasure Island, California, where I got off.
Were you greeted or not?
I greeted Bull Halsey. Did you ever hear of Bull Halsey?
Yes, Admiral Halsey.
Admiral Halsey was what was his title? I can't remember his title, but he was
Commander-in-Chief of the Pacific Fleet.
Of the Pacific Fleet, but that wasn't the exact title, but that's what it was, though. He was in charge of the fleet. Now we got to getting close to the States, but when we got near the States, we couldn't see land yet, but we knew we were close. So we parked maybe about 20 hours close to the States, and we anchored. And the guys, after being out of there 3 years, are not interested in anything that close. We wanted home. But the whole plan, as we learned later, was that the plan was made for us to pull under the
Golden Gate Bridge.
The Golden Gate Bridge at 12 o'clock noon on Navy Day. That was the plan. And sure enough, we did. When we got, the moment we were incidentally, I left up something out. We had to wear our dress blues and be on deck. But unfortunately, everybody didn't have dress blues. And he told it, the executive officer came out. The executive officer came out and told us in advance, every one of you are going to have to wear your dress blues for greeting when we get under the bridge. And we don't have any dress blues. I mean, ours are all tarnished and worn and junk. You go downstairs to the ship store, he will fit you out with new gear. He'll fit you out with, it was very good. Went down, they put up our badges on us and everything. And when Navy Day came, we were there all on like I think we won the war. It was an incredible exhibit. In the meantime, all the Navy ships, all the battleships, all the warships, every ship there and tugboats and was shooting water into the sky.
Well, we'll end on that happy note of when you came home, and we thank you so much for doing this interview with us today.
Yes, I can only leave you with a little bit like it was when I got home. That's all I can leave you with.